And welcome back to English for Specific Purposes, level A2. We are your hosts. I am Mr. Carter.
And I'm Miss Sophie. Previously, we have discussed many different topics. We have talked about media, psychology, tourism, medicine, engineering, architecture. And now we are going to continue the topic that we started at our last lesson, culinary. But before that, as always, let's look at our agenda. Today, we are going to start with a brief introduction. After that, we will learn some new vocabulary, which will be followed by reading comprehension.
After that, we will have a grammar activity, followed by a summary of the entire lesson in which we will talk about everything we learned. And after that, we will have a little bit of homework.
გამარჯობა. მე სოფო ვარ, ეს კი მისტერ კარტერია. კეთილი იყოს თქვენი დაბრუნება ჩვენს ტელესკოლაში. ჩვენ უკვე ბევრი თემა მოვიხილეთ. ვისაუბრეთ მედიცინაზე, ტურიზმზე, მედიაზე, ფსიქოლოგიაზე, ინჟინერიაზე, არქიტექტურაზე. დღეს კი გავაგრძელებთ თემას, რომელიც დავიწყეთ წინა გაკვეთილზე, კულინარიას. თუმცა ვიდრე უშუალოდ გაკვეთილზე გადავიდოდეთ, მოდით ერთად ვნახოთ დღევანდელი დღის გეგმა. დღევანდელი ჩვენი გაკვეთილი, როგორც ყოველთვის, დაიწყება მოკლე შესავლით. ამის შემდეგ შევისწავლით ახალ სიტყვებს, შემდეგ წავიკითხავთ ტექსტს, შემდეგ კი გვექნება გრამატიკული სავარჯიშოები. ამის შემდეგ ერთად შევაჯამებთ გაკვეთილს, ხოლო შემდეგ კი დავასრულებთ ყველასათვის საყვარელი საშინაო დავალებით. Shall we start?
Let's begin.
Mr. Carter, what is your favorite exotic food?
Wow, Miss Sophie, this is such a good question. My favorite exotic food would probably be octopus.
Octopus?
I love it. It's so good, especially as sushi.
Oh, wow. I have never tasted that.
You should. It's amazing.
Can you please tell us what is your favorite Georgian food?
Oh, so many good Georgian foods. But I will have to choose the ultimate Georgian food, which is hinkali.
Okay, I agree with you.
I think everybody does. It's so good.
So tasty, right?
Now, let's move on to our first set of vocabulary.
ახლა კი ერთად შევისწავლოთ ახალი სიტყვები. Our first word is blender. Blender is a noun, and in Georgian, it sounds quite similar to English. Blenderi.
A blender is a piece of electrical equipment used to mix foods into a soft or liquid form. I use blenders to make fruit smoothies or protein shakes if I'm in a rush and don't feel like cooking.
Blender, blenderi. Blender, blenderi.
Blender,
blenderi. Our next word is grater. Grater is a noun, and in Georgian, it means სახეხი.
A grater is a tool that is flat with sharp edges on one side. This is used to cut cheese, vegetables, or even chocolate into very small pieces that are soft and easily cooked down. Grater,
სახეხი. Grater, სახეხი.
Grater,
სახეხი. Our next word is frying pan. Frying pan is a noun, and in Georgian, it means სახელურიანი ტაფა.
A frying pan is a flat metal pan often used to cook foods in oil. Frying pans are normally made out of iron and can get very, very hot. So please, if using one, be careful.
Frying pan, სახელურიანი ტაფა. Frying pan, სახელურიანი ტაფა. Frying pan, სახელურიანი ტაფა. Our next word is whisk. Whisk is a noun, and in Georgian, it means სადღბებელა.
A whisk is a kitchen tool that has a handle, and on the other end are bits of wire attached around. A whisk is used to whip something very quickly. For example, if you're going to make lots of eggs and you need to beat them very fast, you can use a whisk. Or if you're making cake batter for a cake, you can use a whisk. Whisks are great for mixing things very quickly.
Whisk, სადღბებელა. Whisk, სადღბებელა.
Whisk,
სადღბებელა. Our next word is spatula. Spatula is a noun, and in Georgian, it means შპატელი.
A spatula is a kitchen tool with a handle on one side and the other side is flat and wide. This is used for many different purposes. For example, if you have a plastic spatula, it might be used to clean out a bowl, clean out cake batter or sauce, but if you have a wooden or metal spatula, it can be used for cooking, such as turning things in the frying pan.
Spatula, შპატელი. Spatula, შპატელი.
Spatula,
შპატელი. Our next word is cutting board. Cutting board is a noun, and in Georgian, it means საჭრელი დაფა.
A cutting board is exactly what it sounds like. It's a piece of wood or plastic used to cut things on. Instead of cutting things just on the table and maybe messing up the table, you use a cutting board. That way, you don't hurt your knife, you don't hurt your table, and you're able to contain the mess.
Cutting board, საჭრელი დაფა. Cutting board, საჭრელი დაფა.
Cutting board,
საჭრელი დაფა. Our next and the last word in this set of vocabulary is ladle. Ladle is a noun, and in Georgian, it means chamcha.
A ladle is a long, deep spoon, and the bottom of it is cupped. This way, you can serve soup or any other liquid necessary.
Ladle, chamcha. Ladle, chamcha.
Ladle,
chamcha.
Now, let's move on to our vocabulary activity in which we will match the word with the best sentence that fits its description.
ახლა კი გადავიდეთ ლექსიკურ სავარჯიშოზე. ეკრანზე მოცემულია წინადადებები, სადაც გამოტოვებულია ცარიელი ადგილები. მოდით ერთად მოვიფიქროთ, რომელი სიტყვა შეესაბამება ყველაზე მეტად გამოტოვებულ ადგილს. Our first sentence reads, My mom has different size blank, so she can mix things in different size bowls.
Well, Miss Sophie, I think the key word in this sentence is mix. When it comes to mixing things, we have one word that stands out beyond the rest, and that is whisk. A whisk is a kitchen tool used only to mix things and nothing else. So I think this one is whisk.
You are absolutely right, Mr. Carter. The answer for this one is whisk. Let's read the second sentence now. Our blank has many knife marks in it from all the use it has gotten. Mr. Carter, what do you think? What is the best fit in this sentence?
Well, Miss Sophie, once again, we need to look at key words. The key words in this is knife. One thing you always want to use when you use a knife is a cutting board because it protects the table and it protects the knife. So I think this one is cutting board.
You are absolutely right, Mr. Carter. Cutting board is the right answer for this sentence. Let's read the third sentence now. Our blank is made out of a black iron and cooks things very well. Mr. Carter, what is the object that cooks things very well and is made out of iron?
Well, Miss Sophie, like you said, the key words are cook things. So a spatula and a ladle and a grater do not cook things, and a blender only blends things. It does not cook them. The only option we have left that fits is frying pan.
Frying pan. Frying pan is the right answer. Well done, Mr. Carter. Let's have a look at the fourth sentence now. My mom used the wooden blank to stir the sauce in the pot and the plastic one to scrape cake batter out of the bowl.
Well, Miss Sophie, we have two different examples in this one sentence. One is to stir sauce in the pot, and the other is to scrape cake batter out of the bowl. So, one is wooden, one is plastic. Like I said in the definition, a spatula, when plastic, is excellent for scraping the insides of bowls, and wooden or metal ones are good for cooking. So, this one must be spatula.
You're absolutely right again. Let's have a look at our next sentence now. We use the blank to cut carrots to the salad. Mr. Carter, I think you said something about cheese and the chocolate, making it small and easy to chew.
I did, Miss Sophie. You paid attention. Very well done. On top of that, the only key words we have are cut. A ladle does not cut things, and neither does a blender. So this one must be grater.
You are absolutely right. The right answer is grater. Let's have a look at our next sentence now. My dad uses the blank to make his protein shakes. I think you mentioned this before.
I did, Miss Sophie. I also like protein shakes. And the best way to make a protein shake is in a blender.
You are absolutely right. The right answer is blender. Let's have a look at our last sentence. It's probably very easy to guess the answer, so let's discuss it anyway. The blank is the most important instrument when we make soup or sauce for spaghetti. Mr. Carter, what is the most important tool when we make sauce for the spaghetti?
Well, Miss Sophie, there are many important tools when making sauce or soup. But if you want to be able to serve the sauce or serve the soup to the people that want to eat it, you're going to need a ladle.
You are absolutely right. Ladle is a very necessary tool with the soups and sauces.
Now, let's move on to our second set of vocabulary related to the reading.
ახლა კი ერთად შევისწავლოთ ახალი სიტყვები. ეს სიტყვები ტექსტიდან არის ამოკრეფილი და ისინი დაგვეხმარება ტექსტის უკეთ გააზრებაში. Shall we start?
Let's begin.
Our very first word is spicy. Spicy is an adjective and in Georgian it means pikanturi.
Spicy means having a hot, strong flavor. So any food that burns your mouth or makes you sweat is spicy. Miss Sophie, do you like spicy food?
A little bit, not too spicy.
Ah, I see. I love spicy food.
Like Mexican food?
Like Mexican food.
Spicy, pikanturi. Spicy, pikanturi.
Spicy,
pikanturi. Our next word is exotic. Exotic is an adjective and in Georgian it means exotikuri.
Exotic means interesting or exciting because it is something unusual or different. Exotic often refers to things from foreign or distant places. For example, if you have a fruit in a different country, that might seem exotic because you've never had it in your country.
Exotic, exotikuri. Exotic, exotikuri.
Exotic,
exotikuri. Our next word is cuisine. Cuisine is a noun and in Georgian it means samzარეულო.
Cuisine is a particular style of food. This word is used to describe different foods from different regions. For example, if you are in Georgia, then you have Georgian cuisine. It means the style of food eaten in that region or area.
Just remember, it is not a kitchen because kitchen and cuisine in Georgian has the same translation. This one, kitchen is a place, but cuisine is related to a certain food types that is connected to a certain country.
Very good tip, Miss Sophie.
Cuisine, სამზარეულო. Cuisine, სამზარეულო. Cuisine, სამზარეულო. Our next word is noodle or noodles. It is a noun and in Georgian it means atrija.
Noodles are a type of pasta that are cooked in water, and they normally cook very quickly. The most common type of noodles are long, skinny noodles, but there are many, many different types. Short noodles, big noodles, fat noodles, skinny noodles, many different types of noodles. So, just because it's not long and skinny doesn't mean it's not a noodle.
Noodles, atrija. Noodles, atrija.
Noodles,
atrija. Our next word is ingredient. Ingredient is a noun and in Georgian it means ingredienti.
Ingredient is a food or liquid used in making a meal or a dish.
Ingredient, ingredienti. Ingredient, ingredienti.
Ingredient,
ingredienti. And our next word is inclusive. Inclusive is an adjective and it means ყოვლის მომცველი.
Inclusive means bringing everything together or inside, such as if there's someone on the outside of a friend circle and you want to bring them in, you are being inclusive.
Inclusive, ყოვლის მომცველი. Inclusive, ყოვლის მომცველი.
Inclusive,
ყოვლის მომცველი. Our next word is appetizer. Appetizer is a noun and in Georgian it means appetizeri.
Appetizer is normally a small portion of food that you eat before your main meal.
Appetizer, appetizer. Appetizer, appetizer.
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 Now, let's move on to our reading section in which we will read about different types of cuisines from all around the world.
ახლა კი გადავიდეთ კითხვის დავალებაზე. ამ ნაწილში ჩვენ წავიკითხავთ მსოფლიოს სხვადასხვა სამზარეულოს შესახებ. Mr. Carter, what is your favorite cuisine?
Well, Miss Sophie, I love many different types of cuisine, but my favorite type of cuisine has to be Mexican food. It's just so delicious.
Something that you miss probably very much.
I miss it so much.
Great. And we are going to start from Mexican cuisine. This is a treat for you.
Oh.
If you would like to eat something spicy, you need to go to Mexico because Mexican is known for being spicy and having different influences that come from ancient Aztecs and the Spanish explorers. Most of the Mexican food we eat today is a delicious combination of rice, beans, corn, fresh vegetables, and flavored meat. The French explorers also contributed to invention of bread into Mexican food. You can easily choose the restaurant you are going to eat in a popularity. Restaurants with the good food usually attract all the customers. There are also exotic options for adventurous eaters, such as snakes, lizards, and even tarantula. Mexican food is very popular in the US, but it is not well known around the globe, unfortunately.
Unfortunately. Chinese cuisine, another cuisine that I love. Chinese cuisine originated in various parts of China and spread throughout the whole world. Chinese cuisine is one of the most popular foods in the world and is eaten daily by 1/3 of the world's population. The cuisine, like most Asian cuisine, is known for using rice and rice noodles. Most of the food is prepared in bite-sized pieces because the Chinese culture regards knives and forks as weapons. So the best way to eat Chinese food is with chopsticks. Usually, every person at the meal is given a bowl of rice while all the other dishes are shared by everyone else at the table. Chinese cuisine outside of China is not known for being very spicy, but inside the country, it is very spicy.
And finally, something that I like very much, Italian cuisine. Perhaps one of the oldest in the world, the Italian cuisine can be traced back to the 4th century BC. It became what is today along with the discovery of the Americas that brought many different kinds of ingredients to make it one of the most inclusive kinds of cuisine. An Italian meal is structured into several sections. Antipasto, the appetizer, primo, pasta or rice dish, secondo, meat course, and dolce, desserts. Italy is known for having many different kinds of cheese and sausages that are used in a variety of dishes. Italian food, like Chinese food, is very popular all around the world. Everybody has sooner or later eaten spaghetti or lasagna.
Now, let's move on to our reading activity in which we read one sentence and determine if it is true or false based on the text of what we read.
ახლა კი გადავიდეთ კითხვის დავალებაზე. ეკრანებზე მოცემულია წინადადებები. ჩვენ ერთად უნდა გადავწყვეტოთ ეს წინადადებების შესაბამება თუ არ შესაბამება ტექსტს. თუ შესაბამება, ამ შემთხვევაში ვამბობთ true, ხოლო თუ არ შესაბამება, ამ შემთხვევაში ვამბობთ false. And the first sentence is, Greek explorers brought bread to Mexico. Mr. Carter, what do you think?
Well, Miss Sophie, I paid attention for the Mexican cuisine, and I remember that French explorers brought bread to Mexico, not Greek.
You are absolutely right, which makes this sentence false. Let's read the second sentence now. Italy is only famous for 2 types of cheese.
Miss Sophia, I think this one is pretty obvious. Italy is known for many different types of cheese.
You are absolutely right, Mr. Carter. This sentence is not true. This sentence is false. Let's have a look at the third sentence now. Chinese don't eat with the forks and knives. Mr. Carter, what do you think? Is this true or false?
This one is definitely true. They eat with chopsticks.
You are absolutely right. Let's have a look at our next sentence. Mexican food is popular all around the world.
Miss Sophie, I wish this were true because I love Mexican food, but it is false. Mexican food is not very popular.
You are right, Mr. Carter. This sentence is false.
Now, let's move on to our grammar activity.
ახლა კი გადავდივართ გრამატიკის დავალებაზე. As you can see on the screen, there is a sentence. If you would like to eat something spicy, you need to go to Mexico. Would like is highlighted because would plus like shows an expression. Would generally is a modal auxiliary verb. We use would mainly to talk about the past or past habits. For example, I thought it would rain yesterday. When we were children, we would go to the forest every summer. We also use would for the polite invitation or offer. For example, would you like to watch a movie? Would you help me, please? We also use would in the set phrases, like the one we talked about earlier. For example, I would like some coffee, would like, or we would rather stay home. To form a negative form, we need to start with the would plus not plus infinitive. I would not be against your arrival. To form a question form, we need to say would plus subject plus infinitive. Would you help me, please? Now let's move to the grammar exercise. In this exercise, we need to use the would in a correct form. When I lived in London, I take English lessons twice per week. When I lived in London, I would take English lessons twice per week. Blank, you help me with this exercise. As you can see, this is a question form. Therefore, we need to start with would. Would you help me with this exercise? I not mind if you come with us. This sentence is a negative sentence. Therefore, we should say, I would not mind if you come with us.
And now this brings us to our summary. Today, we had vocabulary, reading, and grammar.
ახლა კი მოდით ერთად შევაჯამოთ დღევანდელი გაკვეთილი. დღეს ჩვენ შევისწავლეთ ახალი სიტყვები, წავიკითხეთ ტექსტი და ვისაუბრეთ გრამატიკაზე.
Now, let's move on to everyone's favorite, homework.
For your homework, we want you to write a paragraph about your favorite recipe. You can submit your homework on the address given on the screen. Don't forget to use vocabulary and grammar that we taught you today. And we have prepared a template. But please, as always, do not copy-paste. We know you are smarter and you can do better than us.
And this is our final lesson of level A2 for English for specific purposes. I know I had a great time and I think Miss Sophie did as well.
Definitely.
This was an amazing experience. Thank you so much.
Thank you for all your homeworks and all your hard work. We hope that you will continue with the B1 level with our colleagues. Thank you again. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.